Hello everybody and welcome to the last part, to part 4 on our video set on the English modal verbs. There are two modal verbs left, must and its negative form needn't, and must expresses an obligation. So you know from part 2 and part 3 that I want you to go to the dictionary now and look up the word obligation in your language. You need to understand the concept of obligation, which is must. And when you've done this, then please come back and then we continue. You also know from part 2 and 3 that must and needn't cannot be put into the different tenses. So we are looking for a form that can be put at the place of must and needn't. And there is one, of course, and here it is to have to. The substitute form for must is to have to, and the substitute form for needn't is don't and doesn't have to. You have to be careful here because to have to is a full verb, so in order to make it negative, you need don't and doesn't in the present tense. Let's have a look at the list. Must, expressing obligation. In the simple present, of course, no problem, there's must and needn't, but you can just the same use have to for the must and don't and doesn't have to for needn't. We will have a look at a couple of examples in a minute. In the past tense, of course, there's only the substitute form left. Now for must, it's easy, it's just had to. You just take the have to and put it in the past tense. For the negative form, don't and doesn't, past tense is didn't, so it's didn't have to. So for the simple past, you have had to for must and didn't have to for needn't. And in the future form, you have will have to for the must and won't have to, the negative form for needn't. So please remember, the substitute form for must is to have to, and be careful with the negative needn't. You have to actually use the don't and doesn't in the different tenses. All right, let's have a look at a couple of examples here. You can say you must do your homework before going out, but you needn't tidy up your room. But you can just as well say, and it's perfectly all right, you have to do your homework before going out, but you don't have to tidy up your room. But in the present tense, you can actually choose between both forms. In the past tense, there's only the have to form left over. So it's I had to do a lot of studying yesterday, but I didn't have to tidy up my room. I had to do, it's have to in the simple past, but I didn't have to, it's don't or doesn't have to in the past tense. And the same goes for the will future. You cannot use must and needn't in the will future. For example, the sentence is, we won't have to do any homework tomorrow. So please remember, have to for must and don't and doesn't have to for needn't. These are your substitute forms.